Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Take a stroll through Apple Park, Facebook TV after dark, iPhone 8 with 3D selfie. It's Apple Slice, fresh and healthy. Plus, Apple push new ads and much more in a simply smooth Apple Slice. Right, Nick, now I know we're a tech podcast, but I just want to make a quick side note. How awesome was the movie Logan?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was saying best X-Men movie ever. A lot of people were saying best Wolverine movie ever, but I stand by best X-Men, probably even best Marvel movie, I reckon. It was excellent. I hold it pretty much probably on par with the first season of Daredevil, maybe, or even better. It was just amazing. I've always liked Wolverine's my favorite character, so yeah, it was just a great, great tribute to Wolverine.
I like because movies like Deadpool really have opened it up for this MA rating. And so, did you like Deadpool, even though it's more of a comedic movie?
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty funny and like just broke away from the norm, I think, and then Wolverine did that too, which was Logan did that too, which was nice.
Definitely.
I went and saw it on the night that it was released. I was like super excited for it. I couldn't wait for it to come out. I was hoping that it came out on like the Wednesday, and then it didn't, and eventually I got around to seeing it, which was really cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely pumped on that. So if anyone's into those sorts of movies, or if you're finding yourself getting a bit of Marvel fatigue and you want something that's a bit refreshing, a different take on things, definitely go and see it. So yeah, switching back to what we're here to talk about. Now, we got the WWDC invite early. So we've been talking for a while about expecting an iPad event later this month. Are you feeling like they're going to drop an invite mid-month?
I'm feeling like it's going to be an April event.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, I reckon they usually do it 10 days before. I would expect that to continue. So probably around early April, I would expect an invite to go out for iPads, and then those to ship probably late April or early May.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I'm hoping that this is like a MacBook Pro situation where we just sort of wrote the event off and then it suddenly surprise announcement. So it would be awesome if it was sooner than later. But yeah, I would say probably more likely April. But yeah, either way, it's around the corner.
We don't really ever see iPad hardware leaks. I don't know if there's just not the demand from news sort of agents or networks that don't pay the leakers enough. I just don't know if there's lack of demand for viewing them, or if Apple starts making them later or doesn't have to make as many and so can tighter control it. But yeah, we haven't really seen, even with like the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, that was a massive new, excuse the pun, a massive new product for them, and we didn't see anything beforehand there. So I guess if we were hoping to see something beforehand to sort of feel like it was coming, it's probably fine that we haven't.
I prefer it this way. I would like if there were less iPhone leaks and stuff and all the different rumors flying around. I mean, I love talking about it, but when you have more of a surprise when the actual event comes, it just makes it all that much better. So
yeah, I find what goes with the leaks, which is just constant news articles on why the latest leak is so terrible for everyone. That kind of stuff has started to annoy me. I'm not huge into surprises. I mean, obviously I like a good surprise, but I'm happy to know what it's going to look like beforehand. Yeah. So yeah.
Alrighty. So we're going to hit it off with product perception. So Nick, America has acquired probably the coolest park in the world. So what's this about?
Yeah, they really had to fight for it. Steve Jobs got involved with council early on to get Apple Park going, which is long been nicknamed Spaceship Campus due to the way that it looks. So this is Apple's new, I guess, corporate head office. So it's now been officially named Apple Park, with the theater or the sort of like events room being named Steve Jobs Theater. So that's a 1,000-seat auditorium, which, I think it was pretty cool for them to name it Steve Jobs Theater rather than naming the whole thing to do with Steve Jobs. It's just kind of like pays homage to him, but without being a bit silly about it. And then, so the whole campus is,
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, Steve Jobs is obviously a huge part of Apple, but Apple is other people as well. It's a big team effort. So I definitely agree that naming the whole place after Steve Jobs would have probably been overkill. So yeah, I think having a theatre dedicated to him is definitely the way to go.
And especially, I mean, look, you can say what you like about him and his products or whatever, but he was probably one of the greatest keynote speakers in business ever.
Yes.
You know, he could sell ice to an Eskimo if he had a keynote for it. It was just, if you've never watched one of his keynotes, I'd highly recommend just watching it. It might teach you a thing or two about just presenting at work sort of thing. So yeah, it's 175 acres, so it's pretty huge. It runs off 100% renewable energy. I think it has the largest solar roof in the world.
Yeah, or there was something, I forget what they said, it was like largest solar roof of any something or other building. But anyway, it's
but
massive.
I mean, 100% renewable energy. And this goes with Apple's 4 values, one of them being caring about the environment. So, good to see that they sort of account for that in all their operations. So it'll have a visitor center. So did Infinite Loop, their current campus, had a visitor center with Apple Store, which used to just be like Apple merchandise, like Apple t-shirts and pens and mugs. And then they recently made that into a store in the last 2 years. And so this will have an Apple Store and a cafe, which I think Infinite Loop also has. I know it's called the Mac Cafe, maybe. I'm pretty sure it is called the Mac Cafe.
It reminds me of Mac Cafe, like McDonald's.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh no, now I'm getting confused with McDonald's, but I think it's MAC, not MC.
Okay.
So yeah, it's I think that's only for Apple employees at the moment, but it's surrounded by meadows. So I think it used to be an Apple orchard. Yeah. I think so. I think I might have read that at one point. So basically it's like this circular shape, looks like, as I said, a spaceship. So it's like a ring donut shape with like a really big hole in the middle. And the idea is that, to get from one side to the other for like meetings and work, you have to cross, over, and so you're more likely to have interactions with other people. And so they said that was a huge focus in this is collaboration, which I think is typically Apple. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So it will have a separate R&D facility. I think they have R&D pretty much operations in a number of places in the world. Like I think Siri itself is in Seattle. They've got some of the other operations in Israel. So yeah, I guess it's not uncommon for it to be like at least separate from the main building.
Yeah,
and then,
I guess the
opening in April. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the bit to point out about that is that for people that haven't actually seen the images yet, the donut shape, the main campus itself, is the majority of it, but inside that, so the hole in the middle, there are other buildings, and including the theaters in the middle, right? Like in the center.
I thought the theater was on top of the hill next to it.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yep, sorry. But there's an awesome new drone footage video, and you can just see all this stuff, and it points out what's what. And especially you can see just the tons of solar panels on top is amazing.
Yeah, it's basically the whole roof is just like black solar panels. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty difficult to gauge how big it is just from videos, but it's massive. So they start moving in April, and it'll be a 6-month transfer process, and they'll have 12,000 employees working in that head office in Apple Park. So that's a lot of employees.
I think it sucks for whoever gets left behind at the original location. Yeah, it's kind of like, I just imagine like Johnny Ive having to be left behind because all of his secret designs can't be like transported ever, and so either they build a tunnel from there or he's screwed. It's pretty cool. I think like it would be a dream to work visit, there. It's a 10-minute walk from the parking lot to the main building, which I guess if I'm walking to, like if I worked for Apple and I walked there, I wouldn't really care that it was 10 minutes. I think they just want everyone to close their rings, Yeah.
Well, so, walking from the train station helps me close my rings every day, so.
Yeah. But either way, this scene looks awesome. As I said, with the new footage, there's like this cool access tunnel, and the way that the land and everything kind of, molds itself around it. I just love to go. I think one of the coolest facts, there's a bit of a story about the door handles or something. Like it was like the process from the initial design and that of these door handles up to actually being installed was like a 3-year process or something. Like,
yeah. So one of the guys who was relaying the story actually left the company before the door handles were ever finalized. He wasn't on Apple's side. He was on the like designer side or the architect side or something. And he left before they even decided on a door handle design.
Yeah. It's, I can just imagine walking in there and thinking like every possible little inch of space has just been, thought of so much, and the amount of, boardroom meetings and stuff that went into this. So yeah, either way, it's cool for it to finally have a name and something different. Like it wasn't just called Campus 2. So
well, how many people do you think will still call it iPark or iOffice? Well, not still, but start calling it that instead of like Apple Park.
I think
iPark or iOffice.
I think with the amount of stuff that they do now that uses Apple as the prefix, like Apple Watch, Apple Music and stuff, I think that's less likely. If this was, unveiled and opened 3 years ago, maybe, but people still like to make eye jokes and stuff with naming, but yeah.
So you heard it here first. What the iPhone 8 or the $1,000 iPhone, as it's being called now, or the OLED iPhone? What if it was just called Apple Phone and not iPhone, and that was the first thing that they used to differentiate and move away from the iPhone naming? Or do you think the brand is too strong?
I was going to mention that in our predictions episode. Like I was thinking, just with the way they're going with the naming, could they just drop that altogether and it be called Apple Phone? Mm-hmm. But I do think just with the whole year's worth and the recognition and just how large the iPhone is, I think that'd be a very hard decision to drop that. But it'd be cool in the sense that then you'd be just adding another number. It's a surprise. And I think it'd be cool if they did that, but
I every time I imagine it happening, and I have fond thoughts of it, until I just think of like a little Yoda that just is like going, the brand is strong with this one, and I can't. Then I'm like, they can't drop it. The name is too strong.
Yeah, I mean,
well, and there's hope.
I mean, it runs iOS, so would they rename iOS to something? I'm not really sure, but I can picture it. I just think that it'll definitely cause some confusion. I just think, the iPhone brand is so strong with that name. So anyway, moving from parks into the Office. Yes, Microsoft Office has had the update. with touch bar support. So this was previewed in the MacBook Pro event, but now it's finally released. And obviously, with the new MacBook Pro, I was keen to try that out. I'd kind of say this is probably a bit more up your alley than last time when I talked about Photoshop. That's definitely more my field. But you're a common user of Office, Excel, and that sort of thing.
Yes. I generally just try and stay away from it. It's not my favorite tool. I think generally people in my industry use Excel quite a bit, so certainly know my way around a spreadsheet, but try and stay away just because I could get really deep in the weeds of why I don't like Excel, but it's kind of like great for designing something once off, and then every time you want to update it, you kind of have to fix it. And yeah, we could go really deep. But
I mean, I use Office a fair bit for work. We have, live spreadsheets linking to external data sources and all that sort of stuff. KPI charts and all that sort of thing. So I was definitely keen to try it out. I have never really been a user of iWork much, so I've just sort of defaulted to installing Office anyway. And because I have 365 subscription for work, it was easy for me to do the update. So yeah, touch bar support, it's actually really cool. So just going to quickly run through some of the things you would find on touch bar. For Microsoft Word, you have paste, and I know initially they were pointing out that touch bar isn't a thing that you'd use for paste because, just Command V is such a common shortcut to use. But This is good. This is good because you go to press paste, and like with Word, it gives you the options of how to format what you're pasting. And so there's a little paste icon, you press that, and then the actual options come up on the touch bar.
Right.
So you can retain the formatting or whatever you want. So that's cool, and that's definitely means it's worth putting it there on the touch bar. You have the styles, you have your text formatting, your colors come up in a palette, and there's color themes, which is cool. There's the list styles, bullet lists and stuff. You can indent, you can add a comment, and when you do that, it's contextual. So you add a comment, and then the touch bar changes and gives you the options for replying or deleting or switching between comments. You can insert hyperlink and picture, and there's an open recent, and then it lists like the name of recent Word documents that you've opened. And there's a full screen mode, which is pretty cool. So similarly, they've kind of carried over some of these things across the board with the Office products. So Excel has paste with the same thing, has the same text and color formatting. It has cell borders and cell styles. You can insert a chart by type, which is pretty cool. And then from there, being contextual gives you color theme options, a shortcut to select your data range, and then stuff like the appearance of, where it appears amongst your other data. So you can bring it to the front, send it to the back, and it has open recent as well. Now, one of the cooler ones that I tried out as well was PowerPoint. So it has the same paste, you can insert new slide, a table, a picture. And when you go insert shapes, it's like the emoji. Like there's just almost an endless scrolling list of different shape icons on the touch bar. And that's pretty fun to use. You can insert text box. There's presentation mode, which is always handy. And then from here, when you go into presentation mode, it's got the slides as little preview thumbnails, which is, if you're very much familiar in using touch bar with Safari and such, it's much the same thing. A few contextual aspects to it. Say if you've got a text box selected, the touch bar changes with the formatting tools, much like Word. And a cool one is if you have a shape selected, it gives you options to format the color and rotate the shape as you'd expect. But it has this other button. It's like select element. So all the layers of what's on the slide, then on the screen in front of you, kind of change to this angled window preview showing the layers in order. And you can kind of drag whole layers of content below or beneath or whatever. And I've never seen that before. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But
yeah, it's good that you can do stuff that you can't otherwise do with that if you've never seen it before. I guess the whole point of touch bar is to make things easier that you can already do and include things that you can't already do. So that's pretty cool.
I think because typically, with Microsoft Office, they've got everything kind of collected within tabs at the top. And I still know, every now and then I'll have someone at work and they're like, oh, how do I find this? And they don't know where it lies, under which tab up the top. And this is great because, as I said, you select your text box and then all your tools, the common tools are there on the touch bar, and it just simplifies everything in that way. But yeah, I'll definitely say overall it's a good use of the contextual actions, which is a big part they were pushing with touch bar. It's a very snappy and productive way to work with Office for Mac. Easy to navigate, and it feels natural because it uses similar actions that you do with other things, like I said, with Safari and the thumbnails. I'm also glad that Microsoft didn't just roll this out on the launch of MacBook Pro, because I feel like the developers were given a small window between being told about Touch Bar and then MacBook Pro being launched. So while they did announce it and preview it, it's finally come out, and I feel like they've done a good job. So yeah, if anyone uses Office in their workspace and you have the MacBook Pro, definitely do the update. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I am very intrigued. Unfortunately, most of my work is on my Office PC, which is Windows based, and when I work from home, that's just using Citrix to basically remote straight into my work computer. So yeah, I probably wouldn't use it for like my actual job much, but I do quite a few sort of projects that I would probably use that for. So yeah, I just don't have a touch bar on MacBook Pro.
Oh no. But still, there's plenty of things you have that I don't, so kind of even the scale a bit, but we won't talk about the Apple Pencil because that's a sad story. So
oh man, I even started looking on Facebook Marketplace for second-hand ones because you can buy the tips separately. But yeah, I think I'm going to wait till the next iPad comes out before I replace it, just in case they have a new pencil or some other accessory I'd rather want, because I'm not much of an artist. But yeah, I guess I will get another one. But if the new iPad's around the corner, I just want to see what they come out with.
Yeah, just hold off for that, because you'd be kicking yourself if there was an update. So
I don't expect it to be an update, but I would be kicking myself.
Yeah, if there is, it'd definitely be a surprise. So we're going to switch it over to Rumour Mill. Now, we've kind of tried to hold off on announcing or discussing any sort of rumour that pops up about the upcoming iPhones. So there's been a lot of recurring ones, and over the past week or so, there's definitely been 3 factors that I think is good to talk about. So the first one is, okay, we're just going to refer to this as iPhone 8. So this is the new design iPhone, even though I still think that they're all going to be called iPhone 8. With this one being called 8P, I'm going to call for now, but we'll just call it iPhone 8. So Wall Street Journal said iPhone 8 will have USB-C instead of Lightning. And then almost, I don't know, a week or days later, the analyst KGI, which are usually pretty good with their predictions and stuff they leak, they say that Lightning is actually going to stay, but they're going to upgrade Lightning to have the fast charge technology, like similar to how USB-C does. And then following on from that, saying that the iPhone 8 will have 2-cell L-shaped battery design, which will enable this faster charging. So we mentioned before about possibly having a portless iPhone. I'm still feeling like that won't be until another year. So assuming there will be a port, I'm leaning towards enhanced Lightning. What are you thinking about this?
Yeah, so whenever I think about what cable they're going to have in the next iOS device, I think back to when they introduced Lightning. And so, okay, I might go off on a tangent at some point and really rant about this, but for now I'm going to stay on track and just basically say that Phil Schiller, in order to sort of justify the move to Lightning, when they moved from 30-pin to Lightning, he said, okay, 30-pin's been with us for the last 10 years. This was in about 2012. So from 2002 with one of the, not the first iPod, but one of the first iPods, they moved over in 2012 to Lightning, and then said, or maybe it was later than 2012. Anyway, moved over to Lightning, I'm assuming in 2012, and said, it's been our port for a decade. Now we need a port that's going to carry us forward for the next 10 years. So for me, I kind of just think, well, we've still got another 5 years on that. So I don't expect them to drop it.
Yes.
I'm assuming they would have had visibility. Like, I know there was one recent product that Steve Jobs still had some influence on. It might have been the TouchBook MacBook Pro, just on the whole like deciding what to do about touch screen Macs. But they plan these things for a really long time to get to that technology. The first sort of iPad prototype was in the early 2000s and it was released in 2010. So they have thought about this, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. 5 years worth of Lightning is a bit of a short lifespan, especially in comparison to the 30 pin. So I know that they're definitely pushing with USB-C, and it would be great to have USB-C port there. But we discussed this in a previous episode, and I'm definitely feeling like Lightning still has a very strong presence, and it just feels too soon to let that go. We do know that Apple, by removing, with the MacBooks and that, and by removing all USB-A and shifting over to USB-C and replacing all types of ports, that the fact that USB-C isn't quite as present as I'd want it to be, it feels like it's early, but that is a whole, looking at computers and laptops and that, to me, is kind of like a whole different field than with your phones and stuff. And so, I'd love everything to be all the same port, but I think Lightning still has some life in it yet.
I think basically the one side could be USB Type-C, the part that plugs into the power brick, and then it could use Type-C, like as you said, the power delivery features. So I think that's likely to happen. And then, you can plug in to your MacBook Pro with the cable that came included in the box. I personally never plug in my iPhone into my MacBook, so I don't see that use case, but so many people complain about it that they might kill two birds with one stone there.
Now that you point that out, I think that probably will be the way to go. So we're going to now see chargers with a USB-C port on them. And as I just mentioned before, because they're making USB-C the standard on computers, their whole computer lineup, and we're expecting, say with updated iMacs, that will be USB-C too. That makes sense to me. So still retain the Lightning, but the other end is USB-C. Because currently I can't, without the dongle, if I wanted to connect my iPhone to the MacBook Pro, I can't. So it seems like a logical step.
They do sell a USB Type-C to Lightning cable.
Yes.
Without the dongle, which you can then plug into a 29-watt adapter that comes with the MacBook, the 12-inch. So there is that sort of combination that is a really useful combination for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. So that already sort of is they are kind of already doing this. It's just, I guess, going to be used for the iPhone, and that greater power could just lead to quicker charging. So
it seems logical to me. Definitely, once you point that out. So all right. So another factor to iPhone 8.
Yeah, the fingerprint sensor. So
yes,
I think it's accepted that the future of phone designs is bezel-less, or as close to bezel-less as they can get. And so it's quite obvious that the fingerprint sensors built into the home button. So the question is, what do you do then? Some other brands are going to put it on the back, like Samsung, and some brands are already putting it on the back, but I don't see that as an elegant solution or what Apple would go with. So they have a few patents for this technology, which would be to have a custom fingerprint sensor built into the display, which I think is pretty damn awesome, especially if it can scan anywhere in the display. I don't know if you've gotten a sense from the rumors whether it's just like a designated spot or anywhere, because I know they have the ring around the Touch ID now, but I
feel like it's going to be retained in that same area, lower middle.
Okay, so they say biometric fingerprint recognition technology, like ultrasound. That's instead of the capacitive, or I thought it was like an imaging process that Touch ID has. So it's a little bit different using like an ultrasound technology. I guess that would determine how far away your fingerprint is at each little point. So obviously your grooves are a little bit further away, and they would be able to pick up the grooves that way.
Yep.
So this wouldn't be built by Synaptic or Qualcomm, but Apple made using authentic algorithms and Provaris glass. It's a bit of a difficult one to say. Provaris glass technology.
Yeah, so, I hadn't heard of either of those two.
Yeah, I've heard of
recently.
Authentic. I think didn't Apple buy Authentic though to make Touch ID? I think they might have.
Yeah, because it says with this fingerprint sensor we're talking about that Apple will be using Authentic's algorithms, so they're kind of using components of two different.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think with rumors though, I think if it's fair to say that a lot of these are translated and come through from not the easiest sources to understand. So, we only get like snippets of it, and it's really sometimes pretty difficult to gather exactly what they're trying to say. But yes, so, the fingerprint display, fingerprint in the display is a patent which has been granted to them. I hope that they actually can enforce this patent, because it will be such a good differentiator if, like Samsung eventually catches up with copying this technology.
I mean, they were always ahead of the competition when Touch ID came out.
Yeah.
So this is like the next step to keep them ahead.
Yeah, but I would have hoped that they could have kept that, for longer, but I guess there are subtleties in a patent that they couldn't protect. And then mass production is scheduled to begin in September, which I don't believe really it's too late for them to get the mass production that they need. So I think it's fair to say that for iPhone 7, even though the numbers in sales don't say this, there has been that view that people want to wait, right? Even if it's just like a fallacy that people are waiting. There's certainly a feeling that people are waiting for this iPhone, and analysts and Apple expect the numbers on this iPhone to be record breaking. If you look at Apple's share price upon these rumors, it's really grown in the past month since the views on the iPhone 8 have come out. So effectively, I'd expect them to expect high demand and start production earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I'd imagine because of demand, it'll push the availability out, but I certainly don't think they're going to begin producing it in September, because that's just far too late. Considering can you imagine announcing it and then not even having it before Christmas? Like that just seems like a real bad move if that's the way it goes. But anyway, it definitely, it is good just to see, to talk about this one with the fingerprint sensor, along with the fact that patent was just recently granted. So it kind of, we're gathering out of all these sorts of rumors what we feel like is actually going to be part of this new iPhone. There's still some mystery to it, but the closer we get, the more we have an idea of what this thing is going to look like, and it's very exciting. And another exciting aspect, a rumor that's floating around for a while now, but a few more bits of details here about it, is an iPhone 8 augmented reality feature. So the Business Insider reported that Apple have 1,000 engineers working on an AR project. So they refer to this as moderate 3D mapping. And so there could possibly also be, along with this, an AR kit. So they're going to open it up to developers. So the whole thing is about, well, what are they going to do with this augmented reality feature? What's it going to be about? So it seems to be the common theme we're seeing is that it's about facial recognition. And you hear about the idea of there being 3D selfies. So it's like, imagine taking a 3D image of your face and then that being used in, a game avatar or something.
I actually just realized, I didn't think of it in a game avatar, but I just realized how cool that would be.
Yeah.
in like a Instagram kind of way. If you could pan Instagram the way you do a 3D YouTube video, that would be pretty cool, I reckon.
yeah, this is certainly. I know we've said before that Apple are more interested in AR over virtual reality, and I definitely am. And their reasoning for that is because they feel like that augmented reality adds information to reality, so it's like another layer. Whereas virtual reality, because you're putting a headset on, you're actually sort of isolating yourself from reality, because you can only see what's in the headset, not actually what's around you. So, and there's also factors of virtual reality, such as a lot of people reporting motion sickness and that, which I'm definitely not keen on. So, I'm really interested to see what comes of this. I certainly think they're going to use it beyond a 3D selfie. That just being one cool feature, of augmented reality in this iPhone 8. So, yeah, I definitely really feel like there's, that they're definitely working on this new technology in this space, and I feel like there's a strong chance it will be in September with the iPhone 8. So while there's been some mystery around this, are you feeling like this will be ready in time?
I don't think it will be ready this year. I hope it would be. I'm still unsure, so I definitely go along with what Apple's saying about AR versus VR. Whenever I think of VR becoming mainstream, I just think of Wall-E and all those little fat people riding around on their like carts in space. It's a terrifying future that I think would be kickstarted by VR. So I would be so keen for them to pursue the augmented reality space. And yeah, because I mean, that's cool. Like, go to a new place and hold up your phone and find a great coffee restaurant, or I don't know, like those kind of things. To me, if you had like a Yelp sort of live view, which they have had versions of before, which just didn't have good implementation, or 3D avatars or whatever, there are lots of different applications which I think would be cool. But I don't think that they'll do it this year. They already are a couple of years behind the market on these sort of phone integrated headsets. We saw the Daydream last year by Google, the HTC Vive, Samsung Gear. So they're out there. They're almost a dime a dozen on the Android side, but the implementation hasn't been great. So I don't know. I have no sense of whether they've solved it or not. I guess we'll have to wait until an Apple engineer leaves one in a bar.
Yeah, that's it. I'm certainly more interested in, with their view on it, in that augmented reality, you're not having to put something on. It all just works within your phone.
Yeah, right.
Because,
right.
do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to be carrying around a headset. And I just with the whole thing with, Oculus Rift, when they were, previewing, this is before Facebook bought it, when they had games for that, and then people, reviews of such as like the Samsung VR headset, and just a lot of the common complaints that you find is just people getting sick. And I'm just, I just feel like Apple probably wouldn't even want to touch that space until that part is solved. So, this is just adds to the excitement, and it kind of makes me realize how far away September is. But yeah, every episode we talk about this, we are getting closer. So we're going to keep you updated as to the things that just pop up in this rumor space. But yeah, you certainly do get a lot of rumors that are way off, and so we kind of try and use our best judgment as to what to include in the episode. Okay, so moving on to Appleverts. I mean, Apple have just we've talked about Apple adverts in a few episodes now. They're just churning them out. And they're all really good. Yeah. So
I've been enjoying
there's
them.
a couple of new ones for portrait mode. So what happens in these?
Yeah, I'll just go over these ones pretty quickly because they have the same style as we discussed in the last podcast. Basically, it's two more of these before, after, sort of just a normal picture, and then the one with the blurred or the depth effect on portrait mode. So the one is Ali, and then the tagline is sketchy, lovely. So yep, before and after there, and then raconteur, which is a photo of the grandfather, and then Does he say telling a joke becomes telling a timeless tale?
Yeah,
with
so
this portrait mode.
What it is it's got the grandfather, and he's kind of looks like he's laughing. He's holding his hand up, and it says it goes from your grandfather just telling a joke to telling a timeless tale, just showing the difference in the quality of the image. Yeah,
right. And then that's the difference between the grandfather and the raconteur, which is like the storyteller. So, yes, both really good. Really short though. So like I like about a minute long Apple ad. It's like the AirPod one with the guy walking down. That gives me time to get invested. Whereas like these are fun, quick highlight, and then you're out. Whereas I think
for social media.
Exactly. They're perfect for, as you say, social media, especially like Instagram. I think they come up a lot for me. So yeah, they're pretty cool.
And because they release them in a series, or they're adding to a series, there's almost like a template to each ad.
Absolutely.
It's just real quick. It's real quick to just watch them on YouTube and then run through them all. So they're certainly very digestible in that way.
I don't know if we've ever discussed on this podcast, but I don't have. Oh, you mean watch it on YouTube like as voluntarily? But I guess a lot of people would be watching this on YouTube. Involuntarily.
Yeah. So I mean, because I'm subscribed to the channel. So.
Yes, me too. But I subscribe to YouTube Red, so I pay the $12 a month to have no ads, but I choose to go watch these anyway. Which I guess some people are running away from them, and I think that's such good advertising.
Something that I pointed out though when they announced that service, that YouTube Red is like the worst name.
It is terrible naming, especially when I tell like my colleagues at work, subscribe to YouTube, and they're like, what are you watching at work?
Why
are you telling us? Yeah. So yes.
Okay. So in terms of continuing on a style of advert, they've rolled out 3 more ones for iPad Pro, but these involve a bit more pencil action. So same 15 seconds long.
Just rub it in.
I completely forgot about that. I'm so sorry. My heart is breaking right now. So, it has the same person holding up their tweet, and then the voiceover responds to it. So, first one's called "No More Printing," and it's the tweet's about printing personal things at work, and you have to run to the printer before anyone else does or anyone else grabs it. Then the guy points out that you can actually sign a document with the pencil, and you see them doing it within an email using a markup, and send. So this is a lot quicker as opposed to, the old printing it out, signing it, rescanning it, emailing it. And then he goes, so you can sign and send that secret new job offer. And then she just reacts like all suspiciously, like, what new job? I love my job, sort of thing, as if she's still at work. So that was pretty funny. So
that was absolutely amazing. Just like, it was so hilarious. Like, what new job? I don't have a new job. No, what new job? It was so funny. I just found it. I cracked up. I watched it like 3 times in a row. Just so funny.
I loved it because these things seem like, because they're a real tweet, they feel like a real life situation. Like I certainly I certainly know the feeling of printing something at work that's not actually work related, and then you're quickly trying to like grab it off the printer. Not that anyone from my workplace will be listening, but it's relatable in that way, so that's good. So the next one was called Need Less Stuff. So she's like, I have way too many things on my desk. And he's like, iPad Pro can replace a scanner, pen and paper, and a laptop. And she's got this desk just cluttered with stuff. And then she's like, yeah, well, I'm not getting rid of this. And she just pulls up this ventriloquist dummy out of nowhere. And he's like, no, that's okay. That can stay. This one, I don't know. I didn't find it that funny. It was just a bit odd. I guess I would just go for the random factor. I just found the last bit
funny.
What, when he says it can stay, or?
Well, when she's sort of, she then uses the ventriloquist dummy, but her mouth is moving so obviously. Like she doesn't want to get rid of it, but she's useless with it anyway, which is, I kind of appreciated that bit of the humor.
Yeah, that's certainly good. But I'm definitely, out of these 3, I'll read the last one next, but I definitely like the printing one the best. But the last one is called Take Better Notes. So the tweet is, my math notes are a mess since I'm half asleep. And he says, well, iPad Pro and Pencil have revolutionized the way we can take notes. And he says, if you fell asleep, you can just record them just in case. So this bit I was a little bit confused. Are they talking about recording speaking the notes out, or?
Well, I would just imagine like voice memos, just record the lecture.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the funny bit was the bit where she just sort of falls asleep and smacks her head at the end, but yeah, this one was I get what they were saying, but it was just a little bit confusing with the whole audio side of it, but.
There was a bit of poor attention to detail because they spoke about math notes in the tweet, and then immediately next image is this really detailed human biology sketch where it was like a human
like
body.
maths, yeah.
And it's like I didn't see any maths. It's like you just spoke about math notes, and now it's a biology drawing, which come on.
Yeah, I mean they're probably just they're pushing out so many ads. Someone probably got fired because of that, but
well, jeez, it would not have been the worst mistake in tech the last week with the Amazon Web Service guy with the typo. That I imagine he definitely got fired.
Yeah, the pressure, the guilt. And then finally, shot on iPhone 7. So this one I'm particularly stoked for you in this case. So what happened with these new ads?
Yeah, can I just say that... So Michelle asked me what we were speaking about in the podcast today. I was like, we're speaking about the Joho ad. She's like, I don't know what the hell are you talking about? But yes. So Simon, you've decided that Joho is Johannesburg's nickname, which literally no one in Johannesburg was ever in its history called it Joho.
I thought you tweeted it. I thought I saw someone tweet it, and I was like, oh, that must be their nickname for it. But I think what I really saw was Joburg, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
I was thinking of because isn't there another place they call? Because there's SoCal, like Southern California.
There's
right?
Soho, which is south of Houston Street, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think what happened was I was thinking of Joburg, and then I was mixing that up between the Triple J Hottest 100 with the band Violent Soho, and then there's Joho. But I just think it's because the H in Johannesburg, it kind of works. So
no, it doesn't. I stop it there. No one will ever know what you're talking about. Okay, so the reason why we're speaking about Johannesburg so much is they had a shot on iPhone 7 series of adverts, which is basically one night in each of these cities, and they 15 seconds each, and showcase one user's night in that city. So I still reckon I reckon these specific people were paid for by Apple to go do these, but the 4 cities that they showcased were Tokyo, Shanghai, New York, and Johannesburg, which when I saw that, I was just like, absolutely ecstatic. I just I get the notifications on my iPad when I wake up. I was like, what? Apple has a Johannesburg ad, and I thought it was really cool actually. So
this is just more and more like between that and South Africa support for Siri, and there was something else that they did recently, and we were just like, South Africa's just getting more and more love from Apple. So
yeah, they got a couple of flyovers. I think the real show of love will be some Apple Pay there, so I'm pretty sure I know 1 or 2 banks that would be keen to get involved, unlike some Australian counterparts that we moan about so much. But I've been seeing the ING ads. Speaking of ads, going off on a tangent quickly, the ING ads have been everywhere. I don't know if you've noticed.
I haven't seen them, but I did see the announcement. Because it was good because we mentioned that it was coming in February and they did. So both Macquarie and ING did follow through with that.
So I think just to go back to these ads, they have a really good visual effect. They also sort of showcase the low light features because it's like one night, and you do get the sense that it is actually night, or at least part of the process is at night. So
because this
cool.
one was because these are 15 seconds each. The first one night ad that we spoke about previously, that was a minute long, and that was multiple people had taken photos, whereas this is 15 seconds per city per ad, and it's one person that's taken all the photos.
Yeah. So my favorite one was undoubtedly Johannesburg. Yeah. I think New York was pretty cool too.
I don't know how big Joburg is, but did you recognize anything, or is it all just because it's city? It's kind of like, did it feel like walking through?
It did feel authentic. I don't know if it felt like I don't know if I recognized anything. I don't want to lie and say yes, because I mean, I think most of it was inside one building anyway, which I probably haven't been into. So
yes, yeah. I liked them all. My favorite was the New York City one, just because they incorporated live band on stage and stuff. So they've kind of taken it in different areas, and yeah, I'm expecting there to be more of these, and I'd say hoping that include Australia, that it would be Sydney. So it'd be cool if it wasn't Sydney, like another, but I'd say it would be. So
yeah, it's I mean, I'll probably get in trouble for saying it, but it is like the most internationally recognizable of Australian cities. I'm not saying it's
definitely. Yeah. You know, it's not the capital, but it's the one everyone thinks of: Harbour Bridge, Opera House, you know. It's just the iconic. I think that
the same could be argued for any of these cities, like Johannesburg. If you probably wanted to show like a better, more beautiful, better lifestyle city in South Africa, you go Cape Town, and New York is equivalently just like the most famous sort of financial. You could say these are like the financial areas, but then, you know, you've got San Francisco and all of those cities.
Yeah, so. And it's like, I mean, everyone knows New York, and it makes sense to show that. Like, they're not going to show the capital, they're not going to show Washington DC or something, or like shots in the White House or anything. So yeah. But anyway, go check them out. It's pretty cool. So we're going to move on to appetizers. So there's been a new app. We did mention it very briefly last episode, but Facebook Video for Apple TV finally came out. It's pretty cool. It's if you jump on your Apple TV, not literally because you might break it, but if you go to the App Store and on the home screen, you'll see that is the first featured app there. Now the setup is quick. It tells you to check the notification in your mobile app, and then you enter the code. So that worked.
That was an awesome setup process. It was so quick for me. Did you find it? I was actually a little bit impressed by that setup process.
It was quick, but I did it. I got the notification. I put the code in, and then it said that it didn't load properly, and then it went tap to refresh, and then it worked. It accepted the code or that, but I don't know what that was about. But either way, it was quick. So
I just opened up my iPad on Facebook, and it just had like a do they match thing. I didn't have to manually enter anything. It just said like, oh, do they match? Click yes, and then it worked. So yeah,
because mine said about the code, but it was so much better putting a code in on your phone than trying to have to do it on the TV. So so I'm impressed by this. But yeah, do you want to tell listeners about what this Facebook video is all about? Is it a cluttered mess like Facebook can be, or is it something more TV appropriate?
I found it a better experience to watch it there than on like my phone. So I watched a 2-minute video of a guy cutting down a tree earlier, and yeah, I got really a little bit lost in the weeds there. But I also ended up subscribing to Aussie Man Reviews, so he would actually come through on my Apple TV, because usually his stuff is so much is shared so much by my friends that I see his videos anyway. But then now I couldn't find it easily, so this app has a home screen where it has stuff that is shared by your friends, or the pages you follow, so people or pages. It has some recommended videos for you to keep you engaged and watching based on this sort of stuff you watch. It's got top live videos you've saved and recently watched.
Yep. I just like the design of this, the way it's stacked in the 6 sections, and yeah, it's just got this nice kind of like bluish tinged grey background, and everything is spaced out enough that it certainly feels less claustrophobic than, say, the YouTube TV app. I just like how this is, and the actual previews of the videos, the videos themselves before you actually open it full screen, they're larger as well.
Loading experience. You have slightly slow internet. And I've noticed Facebook video has been it preloads a lot of stuff. So like by the time you get to it, it plays the first 5 seconds, but when you ever click on it, it sort of then gives up and isn't the greatest. So I found this to be a lot better.
I was just sort of testing it out, and I wasn't actually opening each video.
Yeah.
And they all worked like really well. Yeah. And I thought that was impressive considering, my intent's pretty average. And then I opened a video, as well, and that seemed to be playing fine. There's a little bit of a delay at the start, but I think the cool bit about this is when you do open the full video and you swipe down, it actually gives you, a few options, but one is that you can then jump to the channel or, the page of that video.
Yeah, that was quite useful. You can also, hold the, button to then pull up reactions and react to videos, which was pretty cool. That. That's cool. So you like hold in and then it comes up in a 6-directional thing that you can just like top left would be, let's say, the sad face or whatever. So you can do that. And
it's also cool because it gives you you don't have to go back into, your Facebook mobile app or on desktop to hide videos and hide videos by a certain page or whatever. You can actually do it all within the TV app. So, I'm pleasantly surprised by it overall. When I first heard about Facebook on TV, I thought, oh crap, like I didn't want to, I just get sick of scrolling through your timeline and then just getting, I don't know, like I hate it when a video pops up and you wish you hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And I think this certainly filters a lot of that out. It just becomes a more pleasant viewing experience. I haven't quite tested what the audio is like, because I know Facebook, if you upload straight to Facebook, it compresses the crap out of the audio, and it so I would be interested to listen to a few tests in that way. So
the other thing with it is I've been campaigning for some sort of profile system on the Apple TV for a while, and because I feel like it's a family device, and I don't think it's as justifiable for Apple to say, well, everyone can have their own, just because there aren't, even if there are enough TVs in a house, they're just not enough, like central lounge experiences that everyone would get as good an experience. So profiles for me, I think would make a big difference here, the ability to swap between, because like now I'm signed in, but then that's just my Facebook app, Facebook TV app, which I think is a bit unfortunate. So yeah,
I mean, you can switch between profiles on the Facebook mobile app and that. So if they roll that out to TV, that could be cool. So
yeah, so I think is that unfair criticism for just the Facebook video app? Sure, because it's the same for video. I mean, for Photos app that Apple makes, and it's the same for YouTube and a whole bunch of other apps. So yeah, I think it's just a more general Apple TV issue.
Maybe the WWDC invite with all the people, maybe one of the aspects of what they're going to announce is multi-user.
We did say that involved sharing, so that could just be like a sharing devices. Yep, you nailed it.
That would be a big tick from both of us. So yeah, that brings us to the end of our episode. So, of course, if you want to follow Apple Slice, if you don't want to miss out on other little bits of news and stuff in between each episode, we post here and there on Instagram and Facebook with Apple Slice Podcast, on Twitter with @AppleSliceAU. And as of yesterday, I started revealing a series of icons for our segments. So we actually have a total of 12 segments that we kind of choose from for each episode. I'm going to be rolling those out over the rest of the week. And this is all leading up to a new central online presence for Apple Slice, so stay tuned for that. But hey, Nick, if people are listening to this for the first time or they're not subscribed, where can they subscribe to Apple Slice?
You can subscribe on the podcast app, Stitcher, TuneIn, Pocket Casts, or most other podcast players. And yeah, if you could, it would be great if you could rate and review us on iTunes. We always love to hear your feedback. So
cool. I added Pocket Cast there because I just wanted to get the episode links for them, and I purchased the app purely for that. But yeah, Pocket Cast is a great looking app. I don't know if you've actually seen it before, but I mean, I'm very allegiant to the native podcast app, but if I were to use a third-party one, Pocket Cast is definitely something that's up my alley.
Does it have an Apple Watch app?
I will have to check that out.
And if it does,
I like Overcast. I just don't like the font choice in Overcast. So Pocket Cast is a bit more.
You would actually love the series. So I think it's made by Marco Arment. He was one of the guys that interviewed Chris Latner when he left Apple. And he's got a whole series on how he designed the Apple Watch app. It's really in depth and I think you would really like it. So definitely go check that out.
That's awesome, because usually I find, as you've said before, that a lot of, us being podcast producers, we also listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of them seem to come out around the same time, and you kind of churn through them all. And then you got to, at least for me, I've got like a few days where I'm just sort of listening to music and that. So it'd be good to add another one in there to spread them out a bit more. So anything else to add before we wrap this up?
That's all from me. I think maybe we could get a bonus story for anyone who's still listening. I saw we had discussed a while back. We were joking around about some Apple execs, and I was joking about his name's escaped me. The guy who used to have Craig Federighi's job. Damn. I feel like it's Scott or something. The head of software.
Scott Forstall.
Scott Forstall, yes.
Yeah,
and we were joking about him.
The smile.
And I said that I'd emailed him. Yeah. So it was a story probably best left for here. So I guess this will be the first time you're hearing it too. But I was going through I just searched at Apple on my emails and saw Scott Forstall at Apple. I was like, why is his email address in my emails? And it turns out I had emailed him about iMessage, which was basically to compare iMessage and BlackBerry Messenger. It was like BlackBerry Messenger was huge in South Africa in 2010, right up until about 2013, 2014. And so I think that I had emailed him about how the social aspect, like how it was a personal social network, rather than just a messaging forum. I just emailed him about that. I thought it was so funny when I actually came across this email. I was like embarrassed.
I'm assuming there was no reply, or?
Oh, no, of course not. But it was, I guess, yes, I had obviously we've mentioned before that I checked out, how to send suggestions to Apple, which I suggested, like an AirDrop-like feature. So yes, this was along my lines of trying to contribute to what I thought they should do. I was a lot younger and less worldly.
So basically, not only did Nick bring AirDrop to Apple, he also brought the enhanced factor to iMessage.
Yeah. From iOS 6 to iOS 10, they've been working on it. So, yeah.
Cool.
Fun times.
Cool story. How inebriated were you at the time? Or was just one that...
not very, I'm pretty sure. It's like yeah. Oh,
cool.
Well.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Fun little story for the end, but thanks for listening, everyone. And thanks for talking, Nick. And I'll catch you in the next episode.
Cheers.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.